Hello and welcome. Today I'm going to talk about the mechanics of Bladefall and Blade Blast. These are two skills that are often paired together with spectacular results. Now, Bladefall and Blade Blast are two skills that have some very interesting mechanical interactions. Blade Blast interacts with all of the blade skills, Ethereal Knives, Bladefall, and Blade Vortex. But as there aren't many builds using Ethereal Knives or Blade Vortex with Blade Blast, I'm going to stick to Bladefall here. The main gist of the mechanical interactions is you want to maximize the number of blades you are generating per cast of Bladefall, and you want to minimize the AoE of your Bladefall while maximizing the AoE of your Blade Blast, because every single blade when detonated can overlap on a single target. So you want to generally cast around where the enemy is located, and then detonate to maximize your overlaps. How I've done this on my character personally is I'm using Bladefall with Anomalous Concentrated Effect support, Spell Cascade support, and Unleash support. And then my Blade Blast has increased area of effect from my Helmet enchant. It should be noted that generic increases to area of effect, such as the one on my chest piece, will increase the AoE of both your Bladefall and your Blade Blast, which won't really increase the overlaps, and in some cases can actually decrease them. So let's look at some live examples of the way the overlaps and the spread changes as you change around the gems and play with the AoE. To start with, let's look at the default number of blades generated by Bladefall from a single cast. As you can see, they fall in a fairly wide spread, roughly centralized on the middle of each volley. And if you Blade Blast, it covers a fairly decent area. But again, that's largely due to my Helmet enchant. If I take my helmet off, now you can see it's a lot harder for the Blade Blast to overlap. So one of the things that we do is we put in Concentrated Effect support. Personally, I prefer Anomalous Concentrated Effect because it causes these supported skills to have 10% less area of effect. Now the blades are falling in a much tighter cluster, but there's still only 5 of them, because each volley only leaves one blade. This is where Spell Cascade comes in. Now, Spell Cascade has a penalty to area of effect that is reduced as the gem levels, so I've left my Spell Cascade at level 1 to maximize the reduction and also allow me to generate more blades. Now the volleys spawn before and after the targeted location, giving me this. But as you can see, without the Helmet enchant, there's some blades falling towards the outer edges here and here that aren't actually necessarily going to overlap on a single target. Which is again why the Helmet enchant is important, or why instead you could use something like increased area of effect on the Blade Blast. Now, all of those AoEs are overlapping nicely on the single target. You can blast a maximum of 40 total blades with one Bladefall Blade Blast rotation. Now, Blade Blast itself can support blowing up to 50 blades. However, Bladefall will only generate a maximum of 40. Meaning the total number of blades that you can detonate is, again, 40. And to facilitate that, we add Unleash support. Now, the spell is going to recur, casting multiple times. And you go from the spread of 5 blades to 15 blades with Spell Cascade, and the 15 then gets repeated with Unleash, so if you have 2 seals, you will generate the maximum number of 40 blades, like so. And then you can blast them for single target overlaps. This also means you don't need to wait for Bladefall to get to 3 seals to have the maximum damage potential, which helps to significantly smooth out the gameplay, especially for people who don't have the Awakened Unleash support. Now there are times when, due to terrain or other things, a few lingering blades will be left and not detonated. This is a damage loss, but is not particularly concerning. Now just for the sake of demonstration, let's look at what happens if we instead do the opposite of what you want. We increase the area of effect of a Bladefall as much as possible, and shrink the effect of the Blade Blast. Now the blades are falling in a much wider area, and it's much harder for Blade Blast to detonate and overlap. In fact, there are cases where blades towards the outer edges may even be missed because they're out of a range of a detonation. But if you're trying to do this for single target, you'll have a very bad time, as very few of those explosions actually overlap. If I had to guess, maybe 1/3 to 1/4 will hit a single target, which is a huge step down from the reverse, which allowed for most if not all to hit. Like with all discussions of AoE, there is a point at which some AoE is too much. For example, if I add increased area of effect on top of everything I'm already doing, it's a little excessive, and you don't get that much for it, because there's already so much AoE supporting the skill. The last important thing to note is one line of text that a lot of people miss, which is leaves 50 fewer lingering blades in the ground if you don't cast this spell yourself. That is important to note because it's popular to automate Bladefall Blade Blast via something like Cast on Critical Strike, Cast while channeling, Poet's Pen, or Spellslinger. Now, I almost never advise using Cast while channeling to attempt to automate your skills, because it's very clunky and can't be scaled. However, if we talk about Poet's Pen, Spellslinger, or Cast on Critical Strike, these are all valid methods to automate skills, and they work quite well. They tend to work more poorly with Bladefall Blade Blast unless you are accounting for the 50% fewer lingering blades. So some ways to make up for that might be running Poet's Pen and Cast on Critical Strike, or Poet's Pen and Spellslinger, so that you have two trigger sources. Similar if you're using a bow, you could use Cast on Critical Strike with the Asenath's Chant Helmet, which will trigger the spell and generate more blades. A Bladefall Spellslinger combined with a Poet's Pen for additional Bladefall is another popular method that works well. And you'll also have to remember that you're generating 40 blades per cast due to the mechanics of the Unleash support, and the fairly long combined cast time of the skill. So for example, if a single cast without Unleash support generates around 15 blades when self-cast, this means you'll generate around 7.5 blades when triggered. So to get the same damage as a self-cast build within the 0.88 seconds, you would need to generate around 40 blades, or have around 5 triggers. This is quite difficult to do, and that's why, in general, the automated versions of Bladefall Blade Blast are smoother, but are overall less damage than self-cast. I hope you found this short explanation of the mechanics of Bladefall and Blade Blast to be helpful. I've been really enjoying this build, and I plan to make a full build guide and build showcase to show off my specific setup in the near future. So if you want to know more about the skill, or maybe see it in action against some of the hardest endgame bosses the game has to offer, consider subscribing to the channel and ringing the notification bell so that you can be notified when I upload that video. But for now, my question to you is, what other skills that have unique mechanical interactions have you experimented with, and have you found success? Have you made a build that's able to tackle all the endgame PoE has to offer? Or have you found that a lot of the builds with intricate mechanical interactions tend to fall a bit short when it comes to things like the Feared, Maven, or even Cirrus 8, due to the complexity and the amount of thought you have to put into it, as opposed to something much more simple, like Blade Vortex, where spinny blade goes zoom? I'd love to hear your thoughts down in the comments below. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. And special thanks to all of my channel members who help support me so that I can continue to make videos just like this one. Your support really means a lot, and without it, I probably wouldn't be able to make videos this regularly. If you want to help support the channel, click the membership button or the link down in the comments below. And if you found this video helpful and want to ask me a question in a more interactive setting, I stream at least once a week here on YouTube, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you have relating to this video or any of my other videos. Thank you again, and I hope to see you on stream sometime. Have a great day.